I should have taken the. I gotta take the Saudi Arabia deal. I should have taken it. I'm washed.
Well, I do get the fact that they perpetrated 9/11.
I'm not doing it.
That is good. I admire that.
Then they doubled the bag, and I was like,
they doubled the bag, the princes?
it was a significant bag.
What?
But I'd already said no. You know, I took a principled stand.
Yeah, against Saudi Arabia.
It wasn't even that. I didn't even think about it.
I thought we were allies with
I didn't
Saudi
even really
Arabia.
think. Yeah, we are. We give them a ton of.
So why the hell did they do 9/11 to us?
Wasn't Osama bin Laden just from Saudi Arabia?
Every single hijacker basically.
Yeah.
Is Saudi.
Yeah, you don't
How about
9/11
that?
your friends, bro.
Don't 9/11 your friends.
You don't. That's up.
And go over and go, hey guys, you guys want to talk about? I was in 7th grade when you guys did that. It was nuts. I should have taken the.
Dude, this is why Shane Gillis is the best comedian of our generation. Come on. This is such a major L for anybody who took this. And like, I don't even really care. All the people that are like, oh, I don't give a shit. I'm going to take it and get money. Oh, whatever, man. So we're going to get into it. I'm going to give some hot takes. I'm going to say some things people aren't going to like. I'm going to say some things that people that are against Saudi Arabia aren't going to like, because I am both for this and against it. And I really just kind of don't know how I feel about it, but I'm going to watch a few different YouTube channels, see what some people that I like say about it, and maybe I can, you know, agree with them, disagree with them. But I think this was a major L for anybody who took this deal. Especially Bill Burr and Dave Chappelle, which I didn't really even care that Dave Chappelle was doing it. I was like, cool, he's going to go there and he's going to shit all over everything. Apparently that's not what happened. But let's see first what Charlie
I know this
has
is something
to
I
say.
don't typically talk about, but I'm going to blabber about it quite a bit today. I was recently talking about Saudi Arabia after their purchase of EA, going into detail about how they are gluttonously buying up basically everything thanks to their infinite money that they have at their disposal. They're basically playing life.
Yeah, dude, Saudi Arabia and Israel are basically just grabbing up anything that they possibly can.
Admin mode. Like they've entered this era where they just have so much money and now they're using it to buy everything. And I've talked about my own personal experience seeing that firsthand in the esports space. They fundamentally own esports. They've got the entire industry on nipple clamps right now thanks to the money they pump into it, because it's an industry that is deprived of it and they are starving, malnourished when it comes to finances. And then Saudi Arabia has swooped in with that supple teat that they're allowing all the orgs to suckle from. Thus, they now basically have esports in a stranglehold, a fucking full.
Yeah, and a lot of people are saying like, well, it's because they have freer speech than us. No. The things that you usually say, they like for you to say, and they don't care about those things. But if you say something that they don't like, that's where the anti-free speech comes in. That's where these guys fucked up, because you actually can't say whatever you want. They were just okay because they happen to align with a lot of Saudi Arabia's politics.
Nelson, really.
Which I do too.
And
But,
this is
you know,
extending to basically.
I like to say things that people don't like sometimes. Like, I'm going to say things people don't like in this video, and I don't want to be murdered by the government for it.
Everything in the entertainment and tech sector. And most recently, I'm sure a lot of you saw, there was a Saudi Arabian royal family-backed Riyadh Comedy Festival where basically every comedian with a pulse got paid a bag to go perform. And
By the way, do you know who is heavily invested into Saudi Arabia right now? BlackRock and Vanguard. You know who is heavily invested in a lot of companies? But most of the companies in the United States are like invested heavily by BlackRock and Vanguard, Raytheon, and a bunch of other people. And they collectively own like 50% of companies sometimes, including EA. And that's why this deal went off so smoothly, is because BlackRock and Vanguard heavily invested into EA, and they're also heavily invested into Saudi Arabia. So it was just easy for them to do.
Riyadh, and pretty much all of them did it with a big old smile on their face, and now that they've finished it, they're doing their best mental gymnastics to justify why it's actually not a big thing and they're not hypocrites for doing it.
And all of these companies like BlackRock and Vanguard, they invest in these companies and they change these companies. And I think that they changed a lot of the companies in the United States to be woke garbage on purpose so that they can destroy a bunch of shit in the United States and buy it up with the power of other countries like Saudi Arabia. They destroyed our shit that we liked on purpose. That's what I think. It was just too perfect. It was in everywhere, and it made no fucking sense. And all of the retards were cooked. Their brains were captured by all this retarded nonsense. Almost as if it was planned and done on purpose to destroy this country.
For those that don't know, Saudi Arabia has a multitude of human rights violations. One of the biggest ones that make the comedians in particular look like hypocrites is their complete disregard for freedom of speech. Like, that doesn't exist there. They execute people for some of the things they say. There are so many notable examples.
Oh, by the way, why are we canceling people for going to Saudi Arabia? I don't think that we should cancel all these people. I just think that you shouldn't watch them, man. Like, they're fucking morons. We never cancel people who went to North Korea. We don't cancel people for going to China. Like, what are we doing here?
Of it. And Dave Chappelle, in particular, has just released a little statement that I think is so laughably delusional that I cannot help but shoot spitballs at it, which is so painful because growing up, Dave Chappelle was such a big part of my childhood, as I'm sure many others. But this is just not the same guy. He has been replaced by a fucking skinwalker. He unironically said that it's easier to talk in Saudi Arabia than it is in America.
I agree somewhat. Because it's easier for people like Dave Chappelle to talk. But if somebody who doesn't align mostly with Saudi Arabia's politics in their speech tries to go there and talk, it's gonna be real bad.
If that isn't the dumbest fucking thing I've heard of since Hawk Tuacoin. Dave, to even perform there, you signed a contract that expressly forbid you from talking about or joking about things that may be considered to degrade, defame, or bring into public disrepute, contempt, scandal, embarrassment, or ridicule Saudi Arabia, its ruling government, royal family, or any religion or any religious figure, period. This comes from a...
Dude, Tim Dillon, alright, hold on, I gotta go back to that because it's so fucking based. Oh, man. Let's see, where does it start? A lot of the you can't say anything anymore comedians are doing the festival. They had to adhere to censorship rules about the types of jokes they can make. Worth noting that comedian Tim Dillon has said he was kicked out of the festival for a response video he made about accepting the gig, joking. So what? They have slaves? That's good. Good on you, Tim Dillon. He's the only person that I could see like would go to Saudi Arabia to say some bullshit that Saudi Arabia would not allow. And yeah, I can see why they kicked him out.
Any religion or any religious figure, period. This comes from a comedian that was offered to perform, but said no, which is apparently very rare because not many comedians had the wherewithal to say no. They didn't have the strength. So this contract was...
Yeah, Shane Gillis was just like, aren't those the guys who did 9/11?
Leaked, revealed to everybody from a comedian named Atsuka Okatsuka. Hopefully I said that name correctly.
Never heard of it.
She got the invitation, the contract to go, and declined. She refused, and then revealed all of the stipulations that were put in the contract in the first place to ensure people were gagged on the things they were allowed to joke and talk about there. So all the comedians preaching about like how free they felt to speak, they literally signed a piece of paper binding them to ensure.
Aries Spears, he went to China to do comedy. Cancel him now!
They wouldn't talk about a lot of things. So, these are things that you are literally not allowed to talk about, Dave. You muzzled yourself just to even attend.
Yeah, like, if you're gonna spend your entire career basically talking about free speech and, like, being somewhat right-wing, and then you go to Saudi Arabia, or on the other side of the aisle, you talk about how all these right-wing talking points are evil and billionaires should be put down like dogs. Bill Burr, that's what he said. And then you go and do this for money. You're garbage, man. Like, you're a hypocrite.
even accept that bag of money, it came with the stipulation that you would not talk about these things. It was fucking forbidden, Dave. Yeah, it's so easy to talk there as long as you agree to not talk about this laundry list of shit that they don't want you to talk about. And Dave, maybe you didn't...
Yeah, it's easy to talk about things that you actually want to talk about, such as the Charlie Kirk thing, which we're going to talk about in a little bit because Dave Chappelle said some things about Charlie Kirk.
Read the contract. In fact, I'm confident you didn't. So what if you did end up talking about things they didn't want you to talk about? What would have happened? Would you have ended up like one of the many people who were sentenced to death for criticizing the government or making like...
No, you probably would have been arrested and deported and banned from the country, most likely.
You know, what they deem to be destabilizing remarks, because that's something that Saudi Arabia still does pretty often. Like, even in 2025, there's been a lot of executions, and one of them was a journalist who had made posts talking about corruption in the Saudi Arabian regime. His name was Turki Al-Jassar, and he recently was put to death on June 14th after being accused of terror.
Bro, that wasn't even that long ago, man. That was just a few months.
Terrorist crimes, including destabilizing the security of society and stability of the state, which, you're not going to believe this, Dave, there was no evidence for those alleged crimes. But don't worry, his family did at least get to visit him before they took his life, but his family wasn't informed that they were going to kill him. That was just a little surprise they sprung up. And they also haven't got his body, by the way, either. Weirdly enough, Dave, it seems like his crime was talking. I don't know, man, there's just so many things there that are just giving me this inkling of a suspicion that it's not exactly as easy to talk there as you like to...
Yeah, all the people that have been hating on Israel this whole time, really, you should have been hating on Saudi Arabia.
The claim that it is, man. I don't know, there's just little birdies out there saying that it's not exactly super easy to talk in Saudi Arabia. You just happen to agree not to talk about the things that they didn't want you to. Brother...
Nah, I'm not gonna talk about that stuff anyway, man.
This is just so fucking see-through. Why don't you just be honest and say that the money they offered was too much to turn down? At least that's honest. At the very least, you're being...
Some of them did. I'll give them that. All the people who were just like, fuck it, I'm taking the money. You know what? There's some kind of respect there. I still think you're garbage, though, because fuck you for accepting this invitation to a basically terrorist regime. I'm gonna go ahead and say it. Like, you're no better than the Hassan Piker supporters. Like, come on, man. You're no better than Hassan Piker. I'm gonna lump you all into the same fucking category now.
Honest. Like, Bill Burr's trying the same fucking mental gymnastics too, as opposed to just admitting, yep, I took the money, I know it makes me a hypocrite, don't care, it was a lot of money to perform for like a day or two or whatever. Like, just...
Yeah, they all think that they're hot shit. They think they're the greatest things of all time, and they can never be wrong. And they can never take accountability, because why would you take accountability if you're not wrong?
Might as well just be honest. You've already fucking done it. There's really nothing you can say to be like, actually, this place fucking rocks. This is like all about, you know, we get to joke about what we want.
The bad thing is, I think that Bill Burr is being honest. That's what's really bad. I think he's just that fucking politically cooked.
Have a good hoot and holler. Because that's just so blatantly wrong. It is so provably false. There are so many things you can pull from to show all of the ways in which that is just not the case. Like, come on. People have the internet at their fingertips. They can easily just Google Saudi Arabia, like, speech laws or something.
Yeah, they didn't. They were like, oh, money, I'm gonna just go.
And you will find instantly, by the way, Turki Al-Jassar, who was just executed, he has been incarcerated for 7 years because of his crime of talking about things they didn't want discussed. And he was even allegedly tortured before they just recently executed him. Like, people can...
Yeah, and that's just a prominent individual. That's not to mention all of the innocent people who don't have a voice, who had their lives destroyed and or killed.
Easily find this information, and yes...
But I guess if you are killed, then your life is destroyed.
Does make you hypocrites, because Dave Chappelle is someone that's in this statement here talking about how hard it is to make jokes in America because you might get canceled. And sure, fair enough, that is something that has been going on in America for a while now, and it super sucks. Unfortunately, it's only becoming more and more common now too. It's fucking terrible. But in Saudi Arabia, you don't just get canceled, you get canned. You get sent to meet your maker if you talk about things that they don't want discussed. Here, the worst thing that's gonna happen to Dave fucking Chappelle if he gets, like, canceled is he'll lose, like, a show. But then he'll make up for it with a $50 million Netflix special and 100,000 new fans.
Yeah, I saw that Chris Distefano guy, whatever the fuck his name is, saying, like, everything's cool there, everything's peaceful, everybody's so nice. Yeah, because they killed everybody that they don't like. So everybody's all got the same mindset, so it's peaceful. Sure, you can't live there.
It's because people usually will support someone that gets, like, a show taken away because they said a joke that was too raunchy or something.
Oh no.
Whereas the worst,
you're gonna get canceled from a venue? Oh, America sucks, man. America sucks. You can't talk about anything.
Worst thing that'll happen to Dave Chappelle in Saudi Arabia if he did decide to go rogue off book and start criticizing, like, the royal family and talking about corruption and shit, they might have fucking imprisoned him and maybe down the line killed him. Because they have
No, they wouldn't have done that to somebody like Dave Chappelle. Somebody like Chris Distefano, though, I think that's how his name is. I don't know. You know what I'm talking about, the guy who's almost gay? Yeah, they wouldn't do that to Dave Chappelle. Even if they locked him up, immediately Trump would be like, hey, no, we gotta have Dave Chappelle. But if it was anybody else, then he'd just ignore it.
A track record of doing that. Maybe not someone to Dave Chappelle's size. They probably wouldn't do that because they know that would be such an international incident. But to just paint the picture, that is something they do there and actively continue to do, showing no signs of stopping. And yet Dave has the chutzpah to try and claim that it's easier to talk there than here. Fucking crazy, man. I almost feel like part of the contract had to be, like, brainwashing of these comedians too, like literally just forcing them to spit shit out for them, just vomit, like, tourism brochures.
No, the worst part is no. The worst part of what you just said is no. No, they weren't.
Because Bill Burr, after coming back, is like, oh my god, this was life-changing. Calling it a top 3 experience he's had. It was a great experience, that part of the world, and to be part of the first comedy festival over there in Saudi Arabia. The Royals loved the show. You don't say. They loved it? Damn, Bill, that's crazy that they happened to love it. Everyone was happy. The people that were doing the festival were thrilled. Great news, man. I'm super...
Yeah, didn't he talk shit about somebody who took a deal to do a comedy show for Gaddafi's kids? Like, he shit all over somebody for that, and it's just like, bro, this is worse. I kind of think that what we did with Gaddafi was fucked up.
Super happy to hear that it went really well for the Saudi Arabian royals there. I was worried. I was a little nervous that the sets might kind of not go over really well there, but I'm happy to hear it was a home run with the royals. God, Bill Burr's defense of it is almost as fucking stupid as Dave Chappelle's. You think everyone's going to be screaming death to America and they're going to have, like, fucking machetes and want to chop my head off, because this is what I've been fed about that part of the world.
No, they'd rather just buy up everything that we love and put a bunch of gay shit in it to destroy it so that they could buy the rest of it and keep it for their own. That's what happened to EA. That's what happened to a lot of companies that ended up being bought by Saudi Arabia. EA is not the only one. Hold on, let me check. The Public Investment Fund, PIF, of Saudi Arabia has acquired stakes in numerous American companies, primarily through minority investments. Minority investments, huh? Yeah, they minority investments. You mean like BlackRock's 8% and Vanguard's 8% and Raytheon's 8%? That's 24%. That's 1/4 of a fucking company. And that's just the 3. There's so many. BlackRock, Vanguard, and Raytheon have significant ties to Saudi Arabia, reflecting broader investment in defense and industry relationships in the region. BlackRock, the world's largest asset manager with over $9 trillion in assets under management, has actively expanded its presence in Saudi Arabia, opening a Riyadh office in 2019. Yeah, you get it. If you want to read the rest of it, right here, you can pause it and you can read it. We got BlackRock, Raytheon, Vanguard. Yep. Well, I want to note here with this Vanguard one, they don't directly have ties, but they are a major global investment firm that likely holds indirect exposure to Saudi Arabia through its investments in global equities and sovereign wealth funds. Of course they are, because they are BlackRock's rivals. They are competing to do the exact same thing that BlackRock does. They do the same things, they're just trying to one-up each other. constantly. And bro, if you want to look up a list of all of the things that they have a majority stake in, woo, and even minority stake in, but collectively, man, it's so insane.
Who are you even talking to? Like, addressing with this? A ghost? Like, what? Who is actually expecting you to go over there and be met with machetes and people screaming death to America? They paid you unfathomable money to be there for a day, Bill. They're probably not going to be trying to chop your head off screaming death to America. You are there as a helpful, useful puppet on their strings that they are feeding money to dance because it is supposed to help them with tourism. This is put on by their fucking, like, tourism
I miss when Bill Burr had hair.
arm here. And also to help obfuscate
Yeah, he shouldn't have ever got married to that crazy lady.
a lot of the bad stuff going on over there. Of course they're not going to make you have a horrible time, Bill, by waving machetes around. What are you talking about? What a crazy, unhinged statement. So
Yeah, he's just dishonest as fuck.
Bill, before getting there, thought he was going to be met with machetes and people screaming death to America? Really? That was the impression you were under? Also, the way he talks about Saudi Arabia, like what he describes, I think is just like extremely fucking weird. Is that a Starbucks next to a Pizza Hut, next to a Burger King, next to a McDonald's? They got a fucking Chili's over here. I had to stop a couple times during the show and say, I'll be honest with you guys, I cannot fucking believe any of you have any idea who I am. It was just this great exchange of energy. They know their reputation, so they were extra friendly. How is that anything beyond, like, a full-blown insult? Is Bill just a big fucking idiot or something? Like, how
Yes.
oblivious is he to the world around him? He's talking about Saudi Arabia like he's talking to children, like, I cannot believe you guys even know who I am over here. He expected them to not have, like, electricity or internet or something? Like, why wouldn't they know who you are, Bill? You're one of the biggest names in the world. Why would you think they wouldn't know who you were? He talks about this, like, it's just, I'm not taking crazy pills, right? Like, this is a super odd thing to say. He took this money.
Yeah, he's doing anything that he can to defend himself and save face because, really, at the end of the day, it was all for the money. And he doesn't even know it, I don't think.
And as he's going over there, he thought he was going to be met with machetes and people coming for his skull saying, death to America. He gets
Yeah, he's lying to himself so much that he actually believes his own bullshit.
there, and now he's, like, raising an eyebrow shocked, saying things like, you guys have a fucking Chili's over here? What are the odds? Over here, in this part of the world, you have a Chili's? It's just so weird. Like, again, if Bill would just say, like, look, I'm a hypocrite. I took the money. I couldn't resist. I put my hand in the cookie jar. I was too tempted. It is what it is. At the very least, you'd be being honest. Like, there's more dignity in that.
Billionaires should be put down like dogs, he says.
Than what he's trying here with these statements. It's fucking crazy. Now, I don't want to just insult all the comedians that went. That would be a 10-hour video because every comedian went, basically. There were a few that didn't, and I want to give flowers to one in particular.
Shane
Gillis.
Yep.
Shane Gillis has been on a meteoric rise for over a year now, where he's become one of the biggest names in comedy. And Shane Gillis, according to him, was offered...
He's a fucking comedy genius. He knows exactly what to do, exactly what to say. I think he's going to be... Well, now, obviously, he's better than Dave Chappelle. I think he's funnier than Dave Chappelle. I think he's an absolute fucking legend, and he doesn't even know it. I think he doesn't realize he might be the greatest comedian to ever live. And I already knew this before this whole thing happened. It's just everything he says is hilarious, even when he's trying not to be.
Offered a bag to perform at the Riyadh Comedy Festival, but he turned it down. He even did make a statement saying that he took a principled stand and declined the offer to perform at the Riyadh Comedy Festival. Now, he's not the only one that said no. I already mentioned Atsuko Akatsuka. She's the one that actually revealed the censorship rules in the contract that we talked about earlier. But it seems like the overwhelming majority of comedians that received the offer accepted it.
Yeah, because most comedians are degenerates. That's how they end up becoming comedians. And they like money because they're greedy as fuck.
seemingly without a second thought crossing their mind whatsoever. Even some of
they just heard cha-ching, cha-ching.
Comedians that claim to be very supportive of free speech, putting a huge emphasis on it as part of their materials and their sets about how...
Yeah, Dave Chappelle. Like, I like Dave Chappelle. I think he's one of the greats. I think he's the GOAT. But he's being replaced with Shane Gillis because this was a major fucking L. And he hasn't really even been funny for a while. He's just been kind of lecture-y, you know? Like, his past 3 comedy specials, they were great. But they weren't really funny. And they weren't really supposed to be. And I don't really get that.
Important it is. Like Jimmy Carr. Well, they couldn't resist either. Fucking Jimmy Carr was a co-headliner for this. Really stuck to your guns on that one, eh, Jimbo? And he's far from the only one. If you look at the people that perform there, many of them you've probably seen frequently posting about how wrong it is that people will face like punishments and stuff because of like what they might post online or like jokes.
Yeah, and I'm gonna go back to this. I don't think any of these people should be canceled because nobody canceled anybody for going to North Korea. Nobody canceled anybody for going to China.
Or whatever. But they're totally fine taking money from Saudi Arabia, a place that literally has executed people for their opinions and things that they say online. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense, does it? Until you realize that those comedians...
Yeah, I'm just gonna not watch these comedians.
They don't actually believe any of this shit, it seems. They're more than willing to fold on all of this as long as they get paid enough money. It was pretty uncommon to see people say no. And Shane Gillis is right now at like the height of popularity for comedians. And he, I have to imagine, got a crazy offer to go, but still said no. And I just find that to be amazing. I'm really happy to have learned that Shane Gillis wasn't there. But I was very disappointed to see many of...
Yep, he has replaced Dave Chappelle as the GOAT. Too bad. Straight white man. Ha. Fucked it up.
Those that were. All of the comedians that turned down the offer, I think, deserve like a very strong round of applause because they actually do practice what they preach when it comes to free speech and the importance of it. Meanwhile, all the comedians that love to yap about principles and all that for their sets and then still went to Riyadh Comedy Festival, seems pretty clear that it's all a bunch of fucking horseradish from them. To me, at least, it seems pretty clear that they're just fucking sellouts that don't actually believe in the things they pump their fist about and joke about on stage or anything. It's all just phony baloney performative, and as long as you give them enough money, it's not like a principle they're gonna stand by. They'll just go take the money instead. Oh, something else I really want to mention, and I know I've already been blabbering about this for a while. Tim Dillon is another comedian who initially accepted the offer, and then on his own show was poking fun at it in saying like they use slavery over there and that he's willing to turn the other cheek because the money was so much, that kind of thing. And they fired him for it. So...
Yeah, see? You do not have free speech over there, man. Tim Dillon is the only one that I've heard to be honest about it. And then he got fired. How about that?
The implication is, when you accept the deal from Saudi Arabia, you then also have to censor yourself.
I think this is more based than Shane Gillis saying no. If Shane Gillis would have said yes and then done the same thing Tim Dillon just did, dude, that would have rocketed him to the moon even more.
In America too, and just constantly promote Saudi Arabia and the regime. So even on your own show in America, you were still needing to be a full-blown Saudi Arabian shill. So everyone that went is just so fake, such hypocrites, and they are now just fully shills for Saudi Arabia. They're just so fucking fake, man. It's crazy. I'll stop blabbering about it. I know it's been a little bit already, but it's so sad. It's pathetic. It really is. Anyway, that's really about it.
Well, I mean, it is comedy gold, you know? They are comedians, and now we're laughing at them. Oh, well, their career is just... I think a lot of people are going to skip past Dave Chappelle videos now because of this whole situation. A lot of people, they see him in shorts, and that's what's like keeping him in the limelight. Nobody's going back to watch his specials. It's not happening. They're watching him in clips on Instagram and on YouTube and Facebook, and now people are going to skip over those. A lot of people, maybe not everybody, but a lot of people are. And that's going to be enough for the algorithm to not boost them as much. So let's see what PKA says about it. I love PKA, and we got Harley Plays right here from Epic Mealtime. I love this guy, and he's a Jew, so I'd really like to hear what a Jew has to say about it. And also Woody being a leftist, and Taylor being right-wing. Dude, I love this. I love this dynamic that they have going on here.
Kyle, before the show, you were talking about how disappointed, or I guess not even talking, you just sent me a couple of videos about Bill Burr.
And I don't know where Kyle is politically. I think he's on the right, but not as far right as Taylor is. I'm about where Taylor is, I think. Technically, I'd be part of the left because of the way that I feel socially, but when it comes to locally, I pretty much align with Taylor.
Going to Saudi Arabia, to Riyadh in the comedy festival, and he's getting a bunch of hate for it.
They call him old Billy Blood Money.
They're really focusing on him too. Like a
he's the biggest.
Rightfully so, because he's not the biggest, but he is.
Who's bigger?
He's the most vocal about America being trash, and he was on board with Ouija. You know what I mean?
Kevin Hart. But
no, people don't like hypocrites.
People don't like hypocrites because Bill is on record making fun of giving Beyonce and other people shit for going and performing for Gaddafi's kids, and he even
that was it. It was Beyonce.
Go there and dance for those people that shot down that airliner full of Americans, and it's like, I mean, like the Saudis did. You're gonna go there, those people with those human rights abuses. The Saudis have slaves. They punish dissenters in terrorist courts.
Well, women are allowed to
women
drive there now since last year.
the women have only been allowed to drive
madhouse
for
on the
7
roads.
years there.
It's been 8 years
They've matured since June.
since they murdered a reporter.
They killed one in June, I believe. The Khashoggi thing was further back because the Khashoggi one they died.
You don't know that these people are reporters. Oh wait, what are we talking about? Weren't they American citizens? They just let
they
him
cut him
murder
apart with electric saws on. It's all on audio.
Bone saw.
Bone saw is ready. You think they said that?
Yeah, 2 minutes.
They're like, Mustafa, now is not the time for jokes. This is a serious assassination.
Dude, when I listened to the to the Bill Burr clips you sent me, I haven't listened to his podcast in so many years, but it was like the most on the nose shit ever. Where he
around COVID time is when he fell off for me, when he was talking to Joe Rogan about wearing a mask and talking about how like the TV knows more than we do, so I'm gonna listen to the TV. Bro, have you not heard throughout fucking history? Don't believe what you read. Don't believe what you see on TV. It's all fucking fake and manipulative. Are you retarded? Did nobody ever tell you this?
He's like, oh, you're going to go support this country, that country? What? Do you not have enough money? Is that it? You don't have enough money? And it's like, oh, Bill. Like
the guy that I would respect the most out of anybody who went to the Saudi Arabia thing would be the guy that would say, oh, well, I'd go to China. I'd go to North Korea if they're going to pay me. I'd go to any country because that is going to get our politics a little bit into their country. Those people are going to be into us. They're going to see the people that we like, and we're going to influence them with our messaging. Somebody who says something like that, I could get down with. I could respect. Not this Bill Burr situation. What a fucking hypocrite.
This
they
is
didn't even give him that much. You know what they paid him?
You know how much? Because I thought that was everything.
On what you said.
It's 1.5. It's 1.5 million. Look, that's a metric shit ton of money, but not to Bill Burr. That's not life-changing money to Bill Burr.
Mm-hmm.
How much? What percentage of the money that he has do you think that is?
I think he just wanted to go on vacation because he heard Saudi Arabia is a nice vacation spot.
Hey, 1%?
No, he's not worth 150 million. There's no way.
I would assume that he's worth like 10 million.
Oh, really?
I'm going to say 25 million. That's my guess.
I was going to go 50, but I'm
that high. I mean, he's not like he's been in movies and stuff, but he's not like and he tours as a comedian, but like, I mean, I don't know.
He was in Star Wars. He was in Breaking Bad.
Enough. I'm literally guessing.
He had that Netflix show, but I mean, 20 mil, that's a fuck ton of, that's like,
Google says 14 to 20. So it is
14 to 20, 1.5 does do a lot, but
Kevin Hart's a billionaire.
Yeah, but we can't.
Dave Chappelle is borderline a billionaire, and they're going there to take that money. And then not only are they going there to perform, because you could almost excuse that, but part of the deal is that they just need to smooch Arab ass all month long. So now they're back here and they're all on their podcast being like, oh, you know, you land and it's not what you think. It's not what
they're definitely going to say that. But there is, they for sure had a crazy experience. You go there, like you've participated in things where you guys have like been hired to be talent and they want to juice you up a whole bunch. And
yeah, it's like they would do in North Korea. Like, these people are so fucking stupid. They're so stupid. When you go to North Korea, they like show you the fake grocery store. Saudi Arabia just happens to be successful at it.
Get you in on their shit, and they show you a nice.
Here's our capital city. Look, everybody's working, living, and happy. Look at all of them.
Weekend or whatever, you know, maybe they take you out for dinner and they wine and dine you.
Sure.
Like them whining and dining you is on a whole other level.
Yeah, that's really
like, yeah, it's like it'd be like the experience itself would be insane.
It probably would.
Like, I wouldn't like it. I've had some of these lavish experiences. I could imagine it's like dining with a billionaire, and I've done some stuff like that because I was not dining with a billionaire, but like dine with multimillionaires because I used to be a stagehand and we'd have a lot of catering, and sometimes, you know, they would get the people who were working on the actual venue to come to the area where all the nice things are, the nice expensive food is, basically like dining with multimillionaires, you know, and it's crazy.
Like, and I could tell, Tim Dillon is the kind of guy who's like, yeah, you know, offer to pay me and I'll show up. Like,
well,
he's
no.
a big to do, right?
Tim Dillon's gay, and he took their money, and then on his podcast, he went on a rant about how they have modern day slaves, literal slave labor, and they canceled on him. And like,
yeah, he's the most based out of all of them. It's so funny.
I don't know if they took the money back. It'd be so funny if he was like, I cashed the check, it's mine now.
Did Chappelle go?
Yeah.
I wish I could remember which comedian it was, but there was one of them. It was a big name, you'd know it. And
Russell Peters?
They told him to come to Saudi Arabia and do it, and he's like, "No, I'm not going to."
Shane Gillis.
Yeah, it was Gillis. Yeah, Shane Gillis. And
damn, Woody is so out of touch, man. Like, how do you not know who Shane Gillis is on a YouTube podcast?
Then they raised the amount. He's like, "Fuck, I already said no. Now I wish I hadn't."
Yeah, they doubled it. Yeah, I saw him talking about that on his podcast as well. Here's a full list of all the comedians. Like, you know, most of them.
He was just joking too. I don't think even if they would have tripled it, that he would have gone still. I think he comes out on top. The fact that all of that money was offered to him and he said no.
If you're even tangentially familiar with comedy, you know most of these people.
Gabriel Iglesias?
Sure. Mark Norman, Tom Segura, Chris Tucker. Kevin Hart.
Honestly,
dude, yeah, they're trying to buy up everything in America. They destroyed everything with wokeism because literally, think of any company that was woke and look and put BlackRock behind it, or Vanguard behind it, or Raytheon behind it, or 5 other fucking investment firms that are global behind it, and you'll see who's actually behind all this stuff. And look at their ties with Saudi Arabia. In other countries. It's not just Saudi Arabia. They did all this shit on purpose so that they could steal all our shit. Actually, not even steal it. It's so that they can offer everybody money, and then they're like, oh, Saudi Arabia! So much better than America.
Honestly, my opinion of these guys is not changed, though.
Even Pete Davidson.
Yeah, that is a rough one. His dad was 9/11. Yeah.
That'd be like you go into like the Palestinian comedy show or something on October 8th.
Why does everybody always interrupt Kyle? Nobody ever wants to hear what Kyle has to say.
They pay well. They wine to dine. They say it's bad, but I'm gonna tell you,
he was like the leader. He was the ultimate guy, like the social justice comedian almost, right? He went from just like telling jokes about women all the time to really a lot of social commentary. His wife flipped the bird at the president, I think, and he defended that a whole lot. And
of course,
like, he was that guy, you know, who told you what he thought was right and wrong, and then he did this.
Yeah, he should have just said, "I don't know, man." The whole time, he should have just been like, "I don't know, man," instead of actually having a hard fucking stance on the side of wokeism. Of course, he would go to Saudi Arabia because they're the ones who fucking paid for all of it.
I mean, I've always said Bill Burr, Louis C.K., they get a lifetime pass from me for all their nonsense. They were so funny on Old Opie and Anthony. If they want to go perform and dance for slave masters, you can frown, but you know, they gave me a lot of laughs.
These guys, yeah, all of them.
Judge.
I reserve the right to judge them for 2 weeks.
For 2 weeks, we can, and then we'll go back to pretending it didn't happen.
I'll log this, but it's not going to change anything.
Yeah, we'll talk about it again, like offhandedly in a video in like 4 months. Like, really, this isn't that big a deal. I'm just not gonna watch these people, and I already wasn't. But I just have a higher respect now for Shane Gillis
at all,
which I already love.
You know, they're listen.
So really, nothing changed for me.
Them being
I just got to make a video about it.
Blood money is fine.
It's American.
It's fine.
I put myself in that position, like listening to that video Kyle sent me in the shower today, where like it would be so easy to be like, "Oh, this is fucking ridiculous." These people, you know, or at least the ones making a big song and dance about being against this stuff, you know, signing up and doing it. It's like, oh, that's pretty fucked. But then I was like, all right, if like Saudi,
yeah, I don't watch a lot of these big comedians anymore. Now, all of my favorite comedians besides Shane Gillis are either just like random podcasters that actually like don't do stand-up comedy, or random people on Kill Tony that aren't really that famous or not famous at all, or have just become famous. Kill Tony is killing it for me right now. I love Kill Tony.
Arabia was like, hey, we're offering you and Woody and Kyle each $600,000 to go do a live show in Saudi Arabia. I'd be like, I would do that.
What if they were like, we're gonna pay you 300 and 300, we're gonna pay you $400,000 extra to each of you, but you guys have to do PKA here.
Yes.
And Kyle also an extra $400K. You bringing back your shooting channel, but you're doing it here.
Muted, Kyle.
Yeah, I don't know. I think they're our enemies. I think that they bombed us on 9/11, and then somehow they convinced our government to go bomb Afghanistan and Iraq.
And they somehow convinced our companies to let them invest in them.
And there couldn't be a greater example of an evil empire in our midst than Saudi Arabia, the trillionaire.
Yes.
Oh, well, there's also Russia and China. They're pretty fucking bad. I don't know. They might be worse.
Oil empire that pulls the strings in the background. Everybody's so focused on Israel.
We're not in a war because of Saudi Arabia. I think Kyle's wrong on this one. We're in 2 wars because of Israel. Well, we're in multiple wars because of Israel, China, and Russia. Like those 3.
Poor innocent Israel. Really, it's the you don't see them they're no trillionaires in Israel. All right, you know,
not one
trillionaires. Those are common.
No,
folk.
A notoriously poor country.
Common folk, giving, charitable, wonderful people. It's the
all the richest ones live here.
I would go do any sort of a show in Israel long before I would go and do a thing for Saudi Arabia. But
I wouldn't do it in Saudi Arabia. I would not take that money. You know why? Because I don't trust myself to not say something fucking stupid and get myself murdered or thrown in prison in a foreign country. No, thank you. I ain't taking the chance. Even if you offer me $10 million, but there's a chance that I could do 7 to 10 years in prison or be put to death, I ain't fucking doing it. Because I'm a moron. And I will say things that I think out loud, even if they're wrong.
If Israel offered me one, if they offered me $1 million, I'm in.
I would love to go to Israel.
Bro, if Israel offered me $10,000, I'm in.
I'm hand on the wall. I'm putting my tongue in the cracks.
Israel.
I got that wall, and I'm just like,
BB's gonna have to grab my shoulder and go, "It's been half an hour. Calm down." And I'm gonna take a knee and be like, "No, my liege, anything for you."
You got all this raw, leaking.
If you guys got offered the $7,000 Israel dollars, the $7,000, if you guys got offered that,
$7,000, 7 with 3 zeros.
Yeah, if you didn't take that to go to Israel just for 7,000, even I'd be mad at all of you because I'm coming. I'm coming also.
What are we doing in Israel? Are there fun activities?
Just talking. You're talking about fucking this shit.
I'll lay targets for the bombers. Like you don't have
for $7,000.
Kyle's sitting over there being like, "I only have to pay 7. I'm in."
I keep saying I wish, like, I've had genetic testing twice now because Taylor put doubt into it the first time. So I wanted to be sure that they didn't send me back somebody else's shit. And not a drop of Jewish blood, unfortunately. But if there were, oh man, I'd be doing that trip when they welcome you back to the motherland and show you around. I'd be all in.
I'm telling you,
all in.
Mm-hmm.
You could talk to a couple people so we can get you in.
Yeah, it's not like I went to a Riyadh comedy show though. You know, they're just showing dicks and buttholes. They're not enslaving people.
And blood money.
Planes into the World Trade Center or nothing. So let's.
I would not care if Louis C.K. gave a hand job to Kim Jong Un.
I remember Louis C.K. giving.
I love Louis C.K.
Louis C.K. Absolute garbage. Absolute garbage. He's a funny guy. I don't mind watching them. See, that's the thing. That's the thing. I can say these people are garbage, and I'm not going to watch them. But at the end of the day, yeah, I'm probably still going to watch them. I'm not watching Bill Burr, though. Louis C.K., yeah, I definitely can. But he's not a hypocrite. He's not trying to say America's bad and then go over to Saudi Arabia.
Time because he's running ads on his podcast, and now he's taking that Saudi money. It's just so rich.
Yeah. Also, if he gave a hand job to Kim Jong Un, I would probably be happy that happened.
I would.
I like to think
that sounds like something that Louis C.K. would maybe do. I wouldn't put it past him.
Happier, I would be slightly very small, but like 0.001%. But I would be slightly more positive about life if Louis C.K. jerked off.
I feel like
dude, that would be absolute cinema, diabolical. But all right, let's get to what Dave Chappelle said about Charlie Kirk from Timcast. This one is kind of I don't know yet about this.
So a bunch of comedians went to Saudi Arabia for a comedy festival. I don't really care all that much about this.
Same.
They were paid a lot of money, and I don't care all that much.
Yeah, I think they're all garbage, but I already thought they were all garbage even before this happened, and I'd still watch them, and I right now would still watch them, except, like, I wouldn't watch Dave Chappelle's new stuff. I'd go back and watch his old stuff, because his new stuff's not really that funny. Same with Bill Burr. I'd watch his old stuff, not his new stuff. Like, pretty much anything with these comedians. Like, it's not even just the comedians. It's in any kind of entertainment. Everything that happened before COVID was fucking awesome. COVID ruined everything, man. And some stuff was, like, starting to go downhill, like the gaming industry, but, like, and the movie industry. But, man, I just don't watch any new stuff anymore. Everything makes me so sad.
About this. However, I have complete disdain for these comedians who were paid by Saudi Arabia, who had to negotiate what they'd be allowed to talk about, and then had the gall to criticize America. Namely Dave Chappelle. I tweeted this, and there are people like, "You gonna name names, Tip? You gonna Bill Burr, hypocrite. Dave Chappelle, come on." I don't know that I can call him a hypocrite, other than it's not just jokes. You know what I mean? Like, I think you can joke about most anything. The issue is that Dave Chappelle took money from Saudi Arabia while criticizing America, and that is hypocrisy. Now, apparently Tim Dillon was invited to this but got uninvited because he said naughty things about Saudi Arabia, I guess. And he was bragging about, getting paid 400 grand or close to 400 grand.
That's a lot of money.
And I'm just like, guys, these people are for sale. A big divide in the culture war is those who want a better future and those who want money. Let's talk about this. From the Hollywood Report.
Money, 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 money. I say it all the time on this channel. That's all anybody's ever focused on, especially people who really, really try hard to be celebrities, man.
Dave Chappelle criticizes free speech in America at Saudi Arabia Comedy Festival. It's easier to talk here than it is in America, the comedian told an audience at the Riyadh Comedy Festival. I'm just so sick of this because homie had to negotiate with Saudi Arabia on what he'd be allowed to talk about. And he's making these comments because people have lost their jobs for mocking the assassination of Charlie Kirk, or in some more extreme cases, and a lot of them, calling for more assassinations, namely of like me. And I got to deal with these security threats. And I'm in contact. This is not an exaggeration nor a joke. I've been in contact in the past couple of days with the FBI over the severity of these threats, which are credible and horrifying. And I think we don't talk about it enough. And I think people on the right, not personalities, but they generally people in general they get the impression that we're all just hunky dory, everything's okay. Nah, man. Nah. So I don't take kindly to the mockery of the killing of Charlie Kirk because...
Yeah. That's a big no-no, especially when it just fucking happened.
We are headed towards a civil war. I'm going to say it again. I'm not saying we're in civil war, but when Dave Chappelle can state, can be...
I think we're in a cold civil war. I don't think it'll lead to a civil war. I think we are in a cold civil war, though.
Protected in his career, mocking the political assassination in one of the most brutal ways. A society that tolerates and venerates...
Yeah, I want to know exactly what he said. And I want to know how bad it was.
Assassination is a society that has opened the door to civil war. End of story.
Yep.
Lines have been crossed. And I know there are going to be people, and maybe people like Joe Rogan would say, oh, you got to be allowed to joke about these things. Yes, depends on the joke. If the joke is you should be allowed to mock Charlie Kirk's death and Kirk himself in this context.
Okay, I'm going to stop Tim right there. I don't know if he's going to say this. Hopefully he does say this. But I think you should be allowed to mock the death of Charlie Kirk. But we should be allowed to shit all over the people who mock Charlie Kirk. You know? I'm totally on board with that.
You are saying to the left, a left-aligned individual who is accused of murdering Charlie Kirk, who just not even a year prior, a left-aligned individual was accused of murdering a healthcare CEO. You are saying it is okay to celebrate this.
I disagree. I think that I don't think we should be censoring our speech, censoring what we say, because some crazy people on the left might crash out and do violent acts. Like, how is that our fault? How is that Dave Chappelle's fault? But on the other hand, we should also be allowed to shit all over Dave Chappelle.
What does that mean? It means that these psychopaths are going to look at the landscape and say, if they go out and do the same thing, they will be venerated and celebrated.
Okay, arrest them. You say it all the time. Oh, man, Tim. Oh, I mean, this is a half L. This is a lowercase L, I guess. A lowercase L/W, like a lowercase W. I don't know. I don't know about it.
There is a path towards social
At least he's being
success
honest.
in murder. And that is a horrifying reality that is unacceptable. Now, I know people are going to say, oh, but Tim, Dave Chappelle, he makes jokes, he blah, blah, blah. I don't care. I don't care. Okay?
But what do you want to happen to him if he keeps saying things like that? You want him to be arrested? Like, what are we doing here, though?
I know some of you do care. I draw the line at where we are going. This is the line. We have found our line. I'll explain a little bit. Let me give you the news first. Hollywood Reporter says Dave Chappelle criticized the status of free speech in the U.S.
But you shouldn't joke about 9/11, Tim. Don't you know 2,800 or so people died? How many people died? I don't remember. Was it 2,800? There were people that were making jokes about it the day after, and looking back at it, they were fucking hilarious. Maybe not at the time, people didn't think so. Oh, too soon. But like when you look back, it's a lot different.
U.S. while on stage at Riyadh Comedy Festival in Saudi Arabia. He said, right now in America, they say that if you talk about Charlie Kirk, you'll get canceled. Chappelle told the Riyadh audience. I don't know if that's true, but I'm going to find out. It's easier to talk here than it is in America. First of all, that's an egregious lie, as I already pointed out. And he's intentionally fanning the flames over assassination culture. And we just watched Charlie Kirk.
Yeah, and he knows that these people are going to eat it up because he's all about what the audience feels, what the audience thinks, and he's going to boost it up.
Die. Chappelle later noted he feared returning to the U.S. because they're going to do something to me so that I can't say what I want to say. I mean, I just will no longer watch or support Dave Chappelle. I'm not going to play.
Yeah, he should be able to say what he wants to say, and we're not going to watch him.
Stupid games. I'm not playing stupid games. One local audience member referring to ABC's suspension of Jimmy Kimmel reportedly marveled that it was surprising to hear Chappelle talk about Kirk in Riyadh when just recently America canceled Jimmy Kimmel doing the same. Now, I don't have Netflix. I'm surprised people actually do. But I'm not going to cancel everything Dave Chappelle has ever done. In the future, I will...
Well, I've already done that because I'm out on literally all entertainment except for old stuff. So, like, I don't even have to cancel it. I'm already out. I don't know what I could do further. So I'm just going to make videos and just talk about it and shit all over them. Because this is an L. This is a capital L. This is like taking up 2 lines on the notebook L.
Think about what he has said as it pertains to his body of work. I don't think he should. He's not a guy who can be fired. He's wealthy and all of these things. Given Chappelle is obviously a comedian, anything he says on stage can arguably fall under the rubric of, well, he's just kidding. No, I'm not playing that game.
Yeah, I'm not playing that either. I mean, you can say what you think in a funny way, and it's jokes. Like, you're not lying or you're not making up things because it's funny. Dave Chappelle is saying what he thinks in a funny way. It's not really the same.
Are at the very least rather ironic. In Saudi Arabia, media outlets are licensed by the government.
Yeah, because if you're gonna say like, oh, it's just jokes, guys, like, no, this is real, then the left is gonna take that and they're gonna call for violence and be like, it's just jokes. They already do that. Hassan Piker.
There's a long...
I gotta mention him one time in every video, I guess.
...list of prohibited speech, from anything that inflames public opinion against the state to promoting any non-Islamic religious expression. For instance, a student, Salma al-Shahab, got 34 years in prison for retweeting women's rights activists on X. She later got a reduced sentence from Global Outcry. Check this out. One comedian, Tim Dillon, said he was disinvited to attend the event for an unearthed joke that he previously made about Saudi Arabia, which arguably sends the message that if you wish to be invited to Riyadh, you better not make jokes about the country even when you're back home or have done so in the past.
Yep.
Cancel culture. Comics attending the Riyadh Festival have come under fire by some for comedy washing. Dillon says he was offered $375,000, which gives a sense of potential baseline. They don't have the full quote from Dillon in here. Comedian Bill Burr, after performing at the show's opening night on Friday, defended the project on his podcast. It was a great experience. He said it was great to experience that part of the world and be part of the first comedy festival over there.
Sure, but you can't shit all over America's culture and then go over there and praise their culture when their culture is actually inferior.
In Saudi Arabia, the royals loved the show.
Oh, you can't say other cultures are inferior. Fuck you. Go fuck yourself. America's the best.
Everyone was happy. The people that were doing the festival were thrilled. The comedians that I've been talking to say, dude, you can feel the audience wanted it. They wanted to see real stand-up comedy. It was a mind-blowing experience. Definitely top 3 experiences I've had. I think it's going to lead to a lot of positive things. I don't necessarily disagree with that. It's good that our influence is going to be in that space. You know, that being said, my critique largely is with Dave Chappelle playing this Charlie Kirk game. And I'll explain in a second. So this is another story. Atsuko Okatsuka.
Yeah. Okay, well, that's where I'm going to leave the video because I don't really care about the rest of this. We heard what Dave Chappelle had to say. We heard what Dave Chappelle said. And it was basically just Saudi Arabia good, America bad. Go move there. See how you like it after that. Because I guarantee you ain't going to like it. Because they are inferior. Tell me what you think about this whole stupid situation Are you for it? Or are you against it? Do you not care? Or are you just going to continue not watching it and watching these people like me? Because that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to continue to not care. See you in the next one.